You're very welcome to Space to Grow, brought to you by Sonus, Ireland's leading bathroom brand. Now, in this podcast, we explore how the spaces we inhabit shape us as individuals. I'm Lisa Cannon.
And I'm Natasha Rocca Devine. In this episode of the entertainment series, we are thrilled to have award-winning Irish architect and RT Home of the Year TV star Hugh Wallace joining us in the Devlin to share his experiences with the spaces he's inhabited throughout his life and his career.
Without further ado, let's hear from Hugh himself. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies. Aren't you looking beautiful today?
You.
And so are you. We're
Oh,
all coordinated.
Mutual loving.
I know. We're all coordinated. And the glasses match the jacket.
Oh,
Stunning. You're unreal. Oh, wow.
Love it.
So let's go back and talk about your space growing up. You grew up with your parents, Sue and Ken. So tell us about that childhood space for you.
It was 53 Highfield Park in Dundrum, and it was a semi-detached house from the 50s, which my mum and dad bought for 17,500. No, that's a lie.
Wow.
£1,750.
My
Wow.
God.
That's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
3
crazy.
bedroomed, 2 reception, kitchen, utility room, garage, and a big back garden to grow all our vegetables.
Wow. That's mad.
And has this space influenced you, in the spaces that you create today?
Not really, no. I mean, it was Axminster carpet. We had the good room at the front. The dining room we only got into on a Sunday. It's a very sort of, I'd have to say, Protestant household, which was quite funny. And I lived in this little idyllic Protestant world, went to Protestant schools, Protestant scouts, and I didn't meet any Catholics.
You didn't
There were
meet
no
one Catholic?
Not at all. There were none of them in my little bubble world. It was quite amazing.
It's funny because I wouldn't have known that about you. It's an interesting question that, obviously we'd spoken off camera and you'd mentioned, because we're here in the Devlin Cinema, we're right next to it, the Sanford Park School was very awfully. And of course you grew up there. Awfully.
No, it wasn't. Sanford Park's a very interesting school because, first of all, it's now girls and boys, but it's absolutely the one thing that's never discussed inside the school gate was religion. And
Interesting, yeah.
never discussed. It was a mixture of everyone, Jew, Gentile, and anything and everything in between, very much orientated towards left-wing politics. So a very interesting school to grow up in, particularly the history teacher who said, I'm a socialist. So when I'm teaching you history, always have that in the background, because therefore I have my own little sort of view on history.
Right.
So
Interesting because, we're going back in time. Natasha's brought you back to your family home. Do you mind if I ask you a little bit? It's more of a personal question, but you have quoted in the press saying that when you went to Sanford Park, the dyslexia and of course, that was a tough time. And it really, I suppose, defined you and shaped you and where you are now.
Well, it did, because I was the idiot in the class. There were 21 of us in the class, and I used to come 20th. So I was the bottom. And, so the headmaster would chat to my mum and dad when we were coming up to the leaving cert, or that year, and say, really, he's not academic. So you're going to have to find something else to do. And my dad's brother lived in the Curragh and was very close friends at the golf down the Curragh in the army. And so they were going to put me into the army as a cadet, which could have been quite fun, really.
So you would have led the army. You would have been amazing. Imagine. All
surrounded by all those men. Wouldn't that be fabulous?
I didn't think of that.
Surrounded by all those men. How wonderful that would have been. Filthy. But I was lucky enough, my English teacher, Greg Collins, turned around and said, you're dyslexic. I went through exams or process, and they said, fundamentally dyslexic, wrote to the Department of Education. This was between Easter and my leaving cert.
Wow.
And 8 people were diagnosed with dyslexia. And the Department of Education, fair play to them, said, right, you can do your exams orally. And I did my exams orally, and I got 5 honours.
Well done.
And so, but even today, dyslexia is a problem.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
People are treated as idiots. But, it's very interesting in the creative world. So many
people are dyslexic.
Architects, designers, fashion designers, are dyslexic because, if you like, we use the other side of our brain, and it's very interesting. So one of my abilities is to see a drawing, but then to actually visualize
Which is a massive
space.
skill, which people don't. And then when you went to Bolton Street College, obviously you were thriving. Was that such a happy space for you after school?
I loved
yeah.
Bolton Street, and it was also a period for me in relation to my sexuality. So there were 17 lads in the class, and by the time we got to 5th year, 7 came out as gay.
Wow.
So
That's an astounding number, really.
yeah, but it was very interesting because it also allowed you to come out.
Yeah,
Sure.
safe
It allowed
place,
you, correct, you're
Yeah.
in a safe place. And I think that was very important for me.
because obviously, in that time, like being gay was,
This
it
is
was
the late, this is
it was
the
strict. It wasn't as
70s,
open
late
as it is now.
70s.
So
Not
no, especially with families, a lot of people just mostly probably scared to come out with their own family. So that was such a lovely space for you to thrive as a person, but also in your sexuality.
it was
know,
amazing, but creatively it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Everything came to life for you there.
Everything, and it was just, it was a wonderful period. It was like this happy time, and we'd go, I went to America with my best friend Keith, and so we were both virgins when we went. Honest, 23 years old, the two of us.
Right, yeah.
And so we ended up, everybody was going to Chicago or Boston or New York, and the two of us wanted to see nobody Irish because
Yeah, of
we
course.
both
Yeah.
wanted to explore ourselves
Yeah.
and other people on the way past.
Why
But-
not?
But
It's
so
a
we
family podcast here.
I know. So then we went to Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah,
I
because it was
love
on the
it.
telly.
Dallas.
It was on the telly, so wouldn't you
Oh,
go?
absolutely.
So we
and it was
went-
so bling and
and
fabulous.
it was fabulous.
Shoulder pads, big
Yeah,
hair.
and we were
Oh.
crud collectors. We collected rubbish, and we were earning $1,000 a week.
Oh, wow.
Can I jump in and ask you, because I'm kind of more the entertainment side of things. Of course, Natasha's everything that you know, which is is interiors and space. But Dallas, like, what did you learn in the States? Have you brought that with you into
Dallas,
in your
no.
creative space and your interiors?
Dallas was wild.
Wild, okay.
Wild. It was so big, and the buildings were amazing. And it was in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex.
Oh, wow.
And when you went to Fort Worth, there was a line in the sand at 40 whatever street. And the guys in the horses and all the gear would come in. The cowboys would come in, lash up their horses.
It's like a dream.
And come into Fort Worth. It was like, I can't tell you. And then we were very lucky with the lady who took control of us. And she worked for Southwestern Airlines, and we'd fly to Houston or San Antonio or down to Louisiana for weekends. And it was like, this was eye-opening.
And I was going to ask you what was the most transformative space you've been in, but it seems like Dallas, is it?
Yeah,
Like
I
it
don't
seemed
know.
like this
Well,
trip
Dallas
like really
was
shaped you as a person.
Well, it was the freedom that shaped me. And I didn't have that in Ireland.
Well, a lot of
because
people feel that, I think, here creatively as well. It's small.
There's all that baggage. I never owned a pair of jeans. My mother wouldn't let me own jeans.
Really?
No. So I bought jeans for the
You
first
went
time
wild in Dallas.
in
You
America.
went wild.
I went wild. But when you think back at that,
How
it
things have
seems
changed.
daft.
No, but it's different times.
But it was
and different-
very different
Yeah.
times, you know?
You look back, I see it in your eyes. You look back with like rose tinted glasses, but also of a space and a time that really was creative and freeing for you, I think.
It was freeing also sexually, because I had my first sexual encounter in New York. And when my mum met me, all in tears at the airport, she said,
your
"Oh, you've
jeans."
changed." And I said, "Little did you know how much I've changed."
How did your mother respond to that?
But I think
She wouldn't have known. Like, unfortunately, I never got to chat to my mum and dad about my sexuality, which I deeply regret. Deeply regret.
It was a different time, though.
It was, but it's funny, you know, how even today, I'd know friends down the country, and unfortunately, they aren't able to tell their parents. And they're in their 30s and 40s. And I think that's just extraordinary.
It's very heartbreaking, I think. I have a daughter, and if she was whatever she wants to be in her life, I would never want her to hide things from me and to be suffering as a mother or a friend. Like your godmother,
I'm godmother to 1,000
kids.
children.
Like you just never want your child.
But
to
it's
suffer.
all changed so much. And I think that I was very lucky to be in Ireland, in the creative industry, in the 80s and 90s, because it was just fantastic. It was fabulous, and it was so creative. And the interesting thing was, in those days, you had so many Irish brands.
Yeah.
You know, you had gay wear, and they used to do buying trips to the States. And when they go to the States, they go, are there so many gays in Ireland? Are there so many cross-dressers? And so the brand had to change its name to A-Wear.
Oh,
I never knew
I didn't know that story.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love A-Wear. I love A-Wear, gay wear.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
gay wear,
It's
gay
gone now,
wear.
sadly. I love
but
gay
I'm
wear.
just,
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
just saying. So you had all these
Yeah, I
brands,
never knew that.
and they were creative.
Yeah, it was
And-
more freedom, I suppose. Now I think it's a bit more structured.
It
a bit
is,
more,
yeah.
organised.
But then you go down, and I've been to Clonakilty. If you go to Clonakilty, that's amazing. And that to me is an extraordinary market town. 20 years ago, it was a kip. And they all got together.
offence.
Say it as it is.
It isn't anymore, so
Yeah,
it's
sorry,
Scotland.
everyone that's in Clonakilty.
No, they've transformed it
Oh, now, yes.
into the most amazing market town. They have 3 bookshops,
I
loads
love
of coffee shops,
Yeah.
best pub food, great restaurants, but lots of one-off shops
Yeah, just,
producing fabrics, clothes, just wonderful to see. So all of a sudden, a place you'd pass by, it's a must stop
yeah.
to get out, to make your purchase, chill out. And there's sort of a good half morning in it. And I love that. I love seeing places turn themselves around.
And also, do you? I'm assuming that you love like salvaging and recycling
Oh.
and sustainable design. So, do you have any kind of products or things that you recommend to people?
Me?
Yeah.
Martin won't let me into a shop. He drags me out. He says, you're not buying more rubbish to sit on a shelf. I love it. And so I buy things and I don't tell him.
Where are they then?
They appear.
Oh, they
And
appear.
they
that's a
appear and he
clever
goes,
trick.
where did that come from? Oh, that's been there for years.
Clever, yeah,
Do you know?
clever.
I saw you coming in today, and of course I'm sandwiched by 2 very famous interior designers and of course an architect as well, award-winning. Hugh, when people look at you and all the programmes, especially actually Bungalow Bliss, of course, I want you to talk about that now in a second, but people just must want to capture you. Like even on the street, they must be like, there he is, home of the year. Must ask him, what do I do with my windows? Do I do this? Are you sick of it? Do you get a lot of that where people just want you and want your information and want what's in your brain?
You do get that, but I have to say, Irish people, you know this,
Yeah,
are
they're
fabulous.
quite reserved. Yeah, they're very
they're
yeah, they're
reserved.
reserved. They're quite.
They want
they
the
don't
photograph.
capture you
I
then.
love the men that come up to me and say, my wife loves your program. And I'm going, can I have a photograph with you? And you're going, but you don't like my program. You're watching the football. Do you know what I
I'm
mean?
sure they are. They're probably just.
They're
they don't admit it.
closet.
Yeah, maybe.
They're closet lovers of Home of the Year.
Yeah, of my Bungalow Bliss and Home of the Year.
Talk to us about My Bungalow Bliss, because obviously it's based on a book as well, 1971. So really, this is a key news series. So tell us more.
Well, it was a one-off, but I'm hoping to bring it back.
Yes.
Oh, it was
And,
fabulous. It was amazing.
To me, the bungalow is quintessentially Irish.
Definitely.
And it's funny enough, you say to architects they hate this, but it's sort of really the last architectural movement
In
that's
Ireland, yeah.
identifiable as being Irish. And I just love them. I think they're amazing. They make amazing homes. And they are so easy to repurpose today and bring them up to today's standard, because fundamentally, structurally, they're perfect. Dreadful rating in terms of
A rating, yeah. Energy and
ratings.
stuff, yeah.
But you can bring them up so easily to an A rating or a B2, and then off you go. Plug in your air to water and off you go.
Yeah,
And they're
they are,
just
they're fab.
amazing. And also the great thing is you're in half-acre plots that have mature landscaping and trees around them. And that's what I love.
It's lovely, yeah. Because you had that at home when you were a child, the
Yeah.
garden and stuff. Because a lot of people don't have that now.
Not
They live in
anymore.
flats and,
Like we grew all our own vegetables at home.
That's amazing. So
Oh,
that's
that's
so
great.
important to you.
And then we had blanching Saturdays, where the vegetables would be chopped up and blanched and then packaged in little plastic packs and put in the freezer
God.
for the winter.
So
Just yeah, it
sophisticated.
is. It
So
is, and of course
classy.
that's what everybody wants at the moment, isn't it? To be organic and have organic food, and you're pulling it right from the soil.
Absolutely, yeah.
You'll live to be 100, Hugh. You will. Mark my words.
Hey!
I mean, there's so many questions I suppose Natasha's going to ask, but I love hearing from you about kind of impactful spaces. Like you talk about it even in the show, that they kind of transform, or what's the transformative space that you like to work in or that you get to see from time to time?
Well, the most impactful space was actually the papal residence and where the Pope hung out in France, in Avignon. And the reason for that was it was about intimidation. So you went up a staircase which was slightly innocuous, quite small, with a roof on it. So you became at one with the size of the space, the intimacy of the space. And then you went through this door into this vast room. And that room was beautiful, but it was all about power.
Ooh, I like that.
It was about power and
Sounds
authority.
like a movie. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Power.
And authority.
Mm.
And that to me is the actual architecture can do that.
It can
And-
evoke feelings and
Absolutely,
fear. Yeah, it
and
can
that's
bring
what
up
it does. So when
emotions,
you walk down a street,
like Clonakilty.
oh
Or down
yes,
that area.
yeah. So or George in Dublin or
I love
wherever,
George in Dublin, yeah.
buildings talk to you.
100%,
They
I
do,
feel
yeah.
that.
They do talk to you. But unfortunately, in modern architecture, our buildings arrive at the ground and don't talk to us anymore. They actually do the opposite, and they make spaces fearful and antisocial. And that, to me, is a huge problem of our cities and towns. So if you walk up Cork Street, that's a pretty grim street.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't be.
Mm.
It should be vibrant, but you feel unsafe going up these streets. And that's wrong.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, I agree. And also when you're going by the canal or the Liffey, like all around there, the buildings, like when you think of them, like Dublin, it's such a gorgeous city. People travel like all around the world,
Correct.
Asia, America, to come here, and it's the core of our city. And it looks like you say, some areas are quite unsafe, and obviously, that's a problem, a separate problem of homelessness, etc. But actually, this should be the core where tourists are coming through on buses and
seeing.
inspired our beautiful architecture, which you don't have in a lot of countries or cities, and like. It's quite grim, like you say. It's quite depressing when you're driving up to the Phoenix Park and some of the buildings are really sad and run down. And I just feel like
What can we do?
I feel like they should be. There's a program in that, Hugh. Definitely, there's something in that, like to restore it or to bring that kind of area to life. I just think.
Well, what they did in Clonakilty, sorry to go back to
No,
Clonakilty,
absolutely,
but,
it's a great case study.
is the council are very proactive, and also the local, the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So the Chamber of Commerce in Clonakilty is very proactive. So they got £100 off each of the shops.
Oh, okay.
And they set about a marketing campaign for Clonakilty. They then went to the council and said, buy us paint.
Oh, okay. So they took in stages.
So Dulux, in fact, did the deal. And they got all the paint for all the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
With the £100, they bought the scaffolding, mobile scaffolding. And then all you had to do then was hire a painter.
That's proactive, isn't it?
Correct. But all of a sudden that transformed Clonakilty, and also the council then redid all the paving, the paths and everything else. And so it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I have to jump in because my father's from Castlebar in County Mayo, and I would love to see Castlebar being given a facelift or a little lick of paint. It's sad because when I grew up there, the beautiful little sweet shops and the pubs and the restaurants, they were so full of life, Natasha, honest to God. And only been down there recently over the last few years, you see so many places boarded up. Now, I know that's obviously, there's a different element, a whole different podcast in that, but I suppose essentially wouldn't it be lovely if we could gather together in a community and be proactive like that and paint the place up and give it a new lease of life?
Yeah, but there's like I'd never been to Athboy. And Athboy is just this thriving market town. And it's fabulous. And it's all painted and decorated, and you have the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. and
So nice.
and it's all there, and all of a sudden, people go, and they're
Yeah.
part of the community,
So
and
it's
they're
just
all.
it's taking the leap, really, isn't it?
It
It's like
is.
it's getting the people
It is.
together.
Well, this is
I was
what
going to
you
say
both
we need to
need
put
do.
this. Yeah, definitely.
Put your heads together and
So,
work
like,
that out.
on a kind of more personal level for people, what advice would you give to people who really want to change their space for that? Like, whether it's run down or, just want to transform it in their house. Is there anything that you say start with? Would you say it's colour for you? It seems like you love colour and paint and just changing that up. Or,
I'd say start with a copybook, and personally, rather than being online, I find it much better if you stick things down in a copybook, and you put living room and you stick things down, and
oh, I like that.
bathrooms,
Old
stick
school.
them
I
down.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it can be all out of order initially, and then you start to refine it.
And bring it together. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you use your Pritt stick, you see you can peel it off and start again. And
Blue Peter all
Yeah,
over again.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that, but I think that's a better way than in Pinterest.
Yeah.
It's harder. It's hard on Pinterest. It's a certain type of brain that can, like, dissect
Yeah,
all of
but
that,
then you
and
get
bring it to
Yeah,
life.
You get a bar of soap because you like the color, and you put that down,
Yeah.
or you get a rock or a chestnut, an
Yeah.
actual conker
Or a flower or
or
something.
whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and you put all those down, and all of a sudden,
It's come to life. You're
yeah,
made. Yeah.
and it's
That's
much
lovely.
more real than like little squares of out of
A swatch or
swatch.
whatever. They don't work for you.
No.
No, I like that thinking. That's very unusual.
It's also tactile.
It
You know,
is,
it's
yeah, and
nice
people
and it gets
love
your
that.
senses going.
Correct.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that.
Well, of course, I need to talk about RT's Home of the Year. Everybody loves it on our screens, and it's such a force, joie de vivre for everybody, and especially when you want to take home something from it. But also, we get to get a good nosy into other people's homes. How is the show going? When are we back? And also, do you still enjoy it?
Do I what?
Ah!
I love it. And I love the excitement. And, Sarah and Amanda are just great fun, particularly Amanda, who, of course, is so sensible and loves white and more white. But she's great fun. The show is great fun. And I just love it because we don't see inside the house.
Before. That
Never.
was my next question.
Never,
no,
never,
so
never,
no
never.
sneaky peeks.
No, and we never discuss scores. So at
That's
the
nice,
reveal
yeah.
is the only time we actually know what the scores are. And then people are naughty because they mislead in the house. So you think they're giving a lower score, but they actually give a higher score.
Oh,
So they can be
it's
a bit
like poker.
sneaky.
Oh, I like that.
So Home of the
That's
Year
more
is back
interesting.
in February of next year. We start filming in September of this year.
And I know this question already, and I'd asked you outside. Dermot Bannon and yourself, no rivalry, of course.
No,
I mean,
he's
Dermot.
fabulous.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because obviously, in the vein of home decoration, homes in general, and of course home interiors, there's an abundance of wonderful programs now on Irish television
There is,
for
yeah.
that, and thank God there is, because we all need to know how to decorate our homes better and get some good advice.
Well, I think over the 10 years of Home of the Year, there's been a significant shift in the actual, people being fun proud of their homes. And what I love is that quintessential quirkiness
Yeah.
that you don't find on Pinterest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the character of the home, isn't it? Really,
It is, yeah.
because you said, I think you've been quoted before to say that you know when someone's followed a trend versus when they're actually following their own feet, like their
Trend,
own copybook. You can tell that, can you?
You
when
can,
you go
of
in,
course,
yeah.
you can, immediately.
And then you've had your own home on the Great.
Oh.
Yeah, you've been working on projects on the Great House Revival. haven't you?
Yes,
So tell us
yeah.
about that. Did you love that, or would
Oh,
you
The
find
Great House Arrived, that's an amazing show.
Yeah.
And when
You
you
just
think...
so many great shows. It's
I
hard to
know.
keep
You do,
up.
well, you're doing one actually very
I'm
soon
doing
yourself.
do a DIY salvaging show.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So we're doing that, and actually, yeah. But so first of all, tell us about did you love that experience yourself?
I
or
love
it's-
it. I'm doing
yeah.
2 more series at the moment. I'm filming those at the moment. And one will go out next year and the other will go after the year after. And that to me is so important that we see old buildings
Yeah.
being reused, reimagined.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's fantastic. And the work that people do.
Oh, it's
in
unreal.
this
I
is
learned
just
so much as well.
so-
Even I
I
don't
love
know.
it.
I don't know if it's comparable, but it's really hard, and it's in a great way. Like I upskilled so much doing the show. And speaking of kind of recycling products, is there anything that you would like, products or brands that you'd recommend for sustainability? Anything that because you work with some brands that anything.
Well, I think that you have amazing man-made products from Cosentino, and they have an extraordinary brand in Stylestone, but also in Decton, and they're exceptional.
Yeah.
And if you like, at the moment, the Decton is about 80% recyclable.
It's amazing.
So I'm actually using the product on the outside of my house.
Oh wow.
On the extension. So it'll be a very bold, brash, visual new build sitting beside an old 2-story cottage. And I just love that contrast and complement, between the two.
Now, obviously, you do homes, but you're very nosy and you look into people's fridges. Hugh. Yeah. Now, what is that all about? Tell us more.
Well, you can find out if people home cook. Do they cook at home? Or they pre-pack.
God,
do they eat enough greens, fruit, vegetables?
They don't have theirs packed up like you did in their
No,
freezer
but
now.
it's very important. And you're just amazed. Sell by dates. That I checked sell by dates, and I'm amazed how many people have stuff in their fridge that was like a year old.
Well,
I
wouldn't
A
say
year old.
Maybe the freezer, though. Maybe
No, in the fridge.
In the fridge.
Fridge. I found jars.
Pong.
Jars. No, jars with mold.
No. Oh God.
With mold on the top.
No.
Do So that's very difficult. So that's a point down. Then you have the houses you arrive in the home of the year, and they go, please don't put your coffee cup or water on a table.
Oh.
I was just thinking if you came to my home to do home of the year, which I really hope you would never do.
Oh, we'll come, we'll come.
No. I'd nearly repaint the whole house, the whole shebang. I'd be so embarrassed for the camera crews to come in and see it. Do a lot of people nearly redo their homes before you come to visit?
Put in huge effort.
Okay.
And then sometimes...
What's the biggest effort you've ever seen?
Sometimes the house on the outside would have been a lovely yellow.
Yeah.
Like, those nice soft yellows. But when we rock up, they've painted it white. And you're going, oh my God, why did you paint it white?
And
It
you
looked
loved it
fabulous
before.
in yellow.
Oh.
I know. Sometimes when you make fast decisions like that, it doesn't work. Because character is great. You're all for character.
Yeah,
Your personality, you
absolutely.
love character.
Yeah.
And I think it just brings it to life. I think it's a balance, really, isn't it? I think it seems like that's your kind of go-to, or that's what you admire, is a balance of old and new. Bring it
Yeah,
together.
and I think everybody has a history.
Yeah, that's
Like their grandparents and bits of odd furniture come with them. And I think that's what makes the home.
What about a charity shop? I love a good charity shop.
I love
Oh,
charity
yeah.
shops. Absolutely love them.
Martin won't let me go. Same problem.
Same problem.
Same problem. I actually bought a complete cantina cutlery,
Okay.
which I haven't told him.
Where do you put all this stuff?
But you can just say it was gifted. Say we gifted it from the show.
Hugh Wallace has sticky fingers. He's always buying stuff from
But they're
charity
charity shops, so it's fine. Yeah, you're
You
giving
know?
it a second.
Absolutely. I love them.
I love it too.
them.
I absolutely love it.
And they have little gems of things if you keep an eye out. There was fabulous 1930 Art Deco clocks. And I love those. I bought fabulous watches in their cases.
You should have a shop online,
Reason-
Hugh.
Yeah, you
in
should.
the
have a shop.
1930
I'd
watches.
buy from you. Might
Which-
be such a great buyer.
There you
which
go.
had never been, they were in their case, never been used.
And how much was it?
45 quid.
So there you go. Irish charity shops are on par
Fabulous.
with those worldwide.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Have you heard of Gaff Interiors? That's recycles.
Stu-
Yeah, that
it's
kind of
great.
stuff. Yeah, but I just feel like I can see Hugh having his own shop. I feel like he'd be brilliant. And then Martin
But
couldn't
then I
be
wouldn't
annoyed.
sell anything.
Oh, you
I'd love to
would,
keep
you
it,
would.
yeah,
Oh,
I'd
you wouldn't
keep
sell it. You'd be like, sold. The sign would be, the shop would be
No,
closed.
gone. I did a restoration or a refurbishment. Natasha was privy to some of it. I nearly lost my mind, Hugh, doing it. And I think, all in all, I gathered some friends. I kind of pulled a few strings and got a few people to give me a dig out. But it's tough. I mean, people,
is, yeah.
when they look
Yeah,
at interior
busy.
designers,
It's
and
hard, yeah.
Natasha would vouch for this too, I've always thought it was a glamorous job, but actual fact, not just interior design, it's all about the structural work and what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
putting together.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I mean, I think people need to know that side of it. It's not glamorous, actually.
Well, it's not glamorous, and people are spending an awful lot of money and getting it wrong. And really, you can do consultation. You know the way people get afraid of fees and using
Yes.
interior designers or architects. But they need to do that. And so rather than engage with a full service, you actually buy time. So you buy a half day. And that sets, if you like, the ground rules and at least gets you in the right direction. It also affords you the opportunity to, if you like, get to know an interior designer or an architect without committing.
Yeah, it's a really good idea.
And I think that's important.
Okay.
And you can run by questions that might seem completely safe, which could like lose you a lot of money, or completely mad. You know, it rationalizes things that people maybe don't understand. And you can put logic to things, you know, which I think is so important.
I
made some mistakes, Hugh. I made some costly mistakes.
But they are costly.
They're so untimely as well.
Well, you can't. You see, once you do anything structural, you can never undo it.
Yeah.
That's good advice for everybody listening, because I'm sure some people be like, "Oh, I'm going to tear down this wall," or yes.
Do you need to?
Do you need to?
That's the question. An awful lot of people put extensions on, and they don't need to.
Hugh, what do you think about people who don't go with architects and just do their own thing? I mean, is that a disaster, or is that something that you could champion in any shape or form?
No, you can't champion that because there will be errors. That's why you're using somebody's expertise and knowledge.
Definitely. Even in design, even down to interior design, like you're going to save money hiring that person. I mean, I know it can, at the very least, you'll level out because the money you've paid for that person is going to save you money on, you know, the time, the effort, the deliveries, the context they have. Like people don't think about it like that. It's actually a really great service.
So one of the things that as an architect, we get discounts.
Yeah.
We pass the discounts on.
Yeah.
Because we're getting paid a fee. So you have to understand that somebody is getting paid at the end of the day. And while the fee may look a lot less, they're making the fee a different way.
Yeah.
So you need to be very upfront
you need to be direct
with
to people,
your client as to how they're paying the fee.
Well, we're coming to the end of the interview. Can you believe that?
The two of you just kept on waffling. You just waffle on.
Too many more questions, but we do have a quick fire round for you, Hugh, which I know you're going to love.
Do I win an award?
It's a bit of fun, and we want you just to give one short blast of an answer, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'll kick off with what is the one lesson you wished you'd learned earlier in your career, Hugh?
There's no road without a turn. Never assume to be nasty to somebody because you'll meet them again, particularly in Ireland.
Very good. I like that.
It's true. What's your favourite travel space?
Italy.
I love it.
Food. Beautiful buildings.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Style. Delightful people.
Yeah, I agree.
Colour.
Yeah.
Romance.
Nature, flowers everywhere. I love
beaches.
That. Oh.
How am I doing?
You're doing great. You're bringing this to the Devlin. I'm already there. I'm going. What would be the one thing that people would be actually very surprised to know about you?
I'm actually shy and reserved.
No.
Yeah. My character is actually, I don't like going to a party and entering into a party. I find it very awkward.
But you're very comfortable in front of a microphone, though.
Yeah, but it's something you learn.
Okay.
But if you ask me, would I like to go to a party, I'd go no.
What's the most transformative space you've ever been in?
I think the Guggenheim. I think if you go into that, it's an extraordinary space. The whole dynamics of the museum, but then the artwork. And it's extraordinary. In fact, if there was no artwork in it, you'd nearly appreciate it more.
Wow. I love that answer. I'm sure you have none of these bad habits, but if you did have a bad habit, which one would you like to break?
Not listening to people.
Is that not part of an architect's job?
Yeah, I just go, I've heard that before. Can we move on?
I love the honesty.
But you're busy. You're just like, I get it. Yeah, you're busy. So
I think it's very funny, because I'm going, why are you repeating yourself?
You sound like my boyfriend. Who is your favorite designer or architect growing up?
Growing up, it would have been people like Corbusier, Franklin Lloyd Wright, all the Bauhaus, all that modernism. In Ireland, I love Dean Woodward because that was that eclectic period, just at the turn of the 19th century. And it was this noddy architecture of sort of a bit of Gothic, little animals, everything.
Just brought it all together.
Yeah.
It all worked.
Yeah.
If you weren't pursuing your career at the current present state as an award-winning architect and, of course, our TV host on Home of the Year, what other profession do you think you'd choose?
Farming.
Farming?
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's
I'd
very
love.
earthy.
Yeah,
Very
I
grounding.
think that today's farmers is just amazing. It's a whole science in its own right, and I think farming is going to go through such change
Yeah, definitely.
in relation to understanding of the relationship between farming and sustainability,
Yeah, definitely.
and I think it's so exciting.
Okay.
What would be a future space that you'd like to live in? I know you move a lot, so
Ah!
you probably have a plan.
Yeah,
You've already-
Martin and myself would love to live on a river.
Oh, fab.
Ideally with the train at the end of the road.
I like that answer. Now, what trend would never go out of style or could never go out of style for you?
Clutter.
Is that a trend, is it?
Clutter's a trend.
Okay.
I just love honest clutter, not pretend clutter,
Okay.
but honest clutter. So you pick up something and there's a story, there's a personality, there's a love.
So you're thinking this is a good thing. Clutter is a good
Love
thing.
it.
Ah, oh God, I'm in vogue then. That's great.
I
love
love
that.
it.
What is your biggest accomplishment to date?
I got an award for my contribution to the design industry in Ireland
Oh,
about
brilliant.
7 years ago. And that to me was a real compliment. And I think the design industry in Ireland has such a connection with, businesses, brands, professionalism, and it's so important that it's supported.
Okay, Hugh, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Oh,
And
thank
also,
you.
just from a designer,
time.
thank you for inspiring me and so many people in the industry. You're just,
Yeah.
you're a breath of fresh air and you're just so talented and so funny.
And
so
a
thank you
force
very
of
much.
nature.
Thank you
Oh,
so
Hugh,
much.
come to my house. Natasha, come to my house. I
Oh.
need you. Guys, thank you so much. It was
Thank you
wonderful.
so much.
For more on Hugh's upcoming shows and projects, check out HughWallaceArchitect.com.
This episode was sponsored by Ireland's leading bathroom brand, Sunnis. It's time to reimagine bathrooms. Be inspired at sunnisbathrooms.com. And if you want to keep up with the latest from Space to Grow, make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And if you can leave us a rating or review, please do.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Space to Grow.